Hey, this is Andrew. Welcome to a completely new project. So I think it's a rite of passage for most developers who have studied a second language to end up creating your own study tools at some point in an attempt to automate some of the busy work or streamline an approach to language study that you found has really worked for you. Now, there's a ton of really good language learning tools available off the shelf, but as a programmer, what I've always found, and I've been through this a number of times, is there are little techniques that you come up with in your own mind that you think would be very effective that none of the current tools use. So while you'll end up using a lot of those tools, there's still this desire to create your own along the way. And that's a little bit of what we're going to be doing in this project, is scratching an itch that I've got. And there are several of those itches. There are several ideas that I've had along the way for creating language learning tools, specifically for helping aid in the study of Japanese. I've had a number of ideas, but all of them are kind of big or build on a lot of small steps that you have to do in order to support that sort of thing. And then yesterday, I came up with one particular idea for something that I think would be helpful that isn't really that difficult to do. And so I thought, you know what, this is a good place to start. Why don't we work on this? So I'll just briefly explain to you what I'm thinking of doing here in this project. Here's is the JLPT study page. This is one of many sites for the Japanese language proficiency test, but this is a classic one that I used back when I wrote JLPT4, which is the lowest level that you used to be able to test for, and now it's broken up from N5 up through N1, and N1 is the highest level that you can write this particular test for. And there is on this website, you'll see, a full vocabulary list from past tests. So these are all the words in the N5 level test. And you'll also see a list, a pretty small list of kanji that you need to know for this test. And then this is the one that is particularly interesting to me for this project, the grammar list. So this is a whole bunch of grammar rules that are described over here, and then an example sentence or two for each of those grammar rules. Well, that's what we're going to be working on today. And then finally, there's a list of fixed phrases and expressions, things like that. So they have sample tests or sample sentences that you should be able to read from past tests. And then there's a bunch of other stuff. But the simple thing that I would like to be able to do is, and this is for me specifically because I have a terrible ear for Japanese. If some people are better at expressing themselves versus understanding other people. Some people are really good at understanding other people, but have difficulty expressing themselves. I've met folks that kind of, fall into both of those categories. But for me in particular, my ear has always been awful. Not sure why that is, but I would like to do something about it. And what I thought I could do is use the Alexa features or integration in Bullet Train to speak some of these example sentences and then prompt the listener, myself that is, prompt myself to on the fly sort of translate what it was that I heard. And there's a lot of sample sentences here and many more sample sentences available online that I can punch in. But that's just a really simple interaction. And another thing that is interesting that you can do is if you do this via Alexa, obviously it's going to be text to speech, right? So I'm not sure off the top of my head whether Alexa supports me just pumping Japanese text through it. I think it may, because Alexa is a platform that is supported in Japan as well. However, if it doesn't, it's no big deal. There is a gem for Amazon Web Services Polly service, which is a simple text-to-speech engine, and it supports Japanese really well. I'm assuming that that is what they're using for the Alexa Japanese support as well. So anyway, that's simple enough. And then as an extension of that, you could also use the same service and the same data in a different context via text message to ask for an example sentence to be sent to you and then to respond in text format with whatever the translation is, or maybe just give a thumbs up or thumbs down depending on whether you can read it. And then, eventually you start building in things like spaced repetition or whatever. But that's the gist of the project that I want to work on. I want to build that. And so to get started on that, I'm going to be, loading creating a model, for these grammar rules and the example sentences, and then we'll take it from there.